What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we have a very requested review that you would have seen if you watched my unboxing video from Galen Leather. I have purchased all of this myself. This is not sponsored. They were not sent to me. So, just be aware. Because, spoiler, this is a mostly positive review. I mostly like a lot about it. We're going to cover a couple different things. The main one is the A5 Leather Notebook, which is my current journal in use. We're going to talk about the B6 version of the same notebook. Everything's the same, it's just a different size. And then we're also going to quickly cover the exact same notebook, but it doesn't have the leather cover. So 3 notebooks in one, guys. Are you feeling spoiled? You should. Oh boy. Okay, so let's jump into this. Otherwise, it's going to be quite long. So when you order any of their notebooks, regardless of the size, you get it in a little cardboard package like this that has a magnetic closure, which is kind of neat. I like the aesthetic of it. I like the gold with little, skrills under here. It's all that on the back, and just kind of opens up. And then has their logo and branding on the inside. It makes for very cute packaging. Makes for very cute gift packaging. But I do wish that you could exclude it, because I imagine all of their pricing runs a little bit higher because of that. Because this box thing here, if you order anything else, you get it in like this Galen Leather bag here. It's a zippered pouch, which I have some other things in. You get a little thing, which I thought I kept, but apparently I didn't. It's a little pouch that looks like this, but drawstring pouch that has like tea, Turkish coffee in it, a little medallion thing. Actually, I do have that. It's like this here to like ward off evil spirits. It's supposed to be an eye. And so you get kind of like some trinkets and things like that. But when you place your order, if you order like a bunch of things, they all come packaged like that. So it kind of seems excessive to me. I wish that maybe you could save a couple bucks and knock off a lot of that packaging, especially because in my experience, I've ordered 4 times now, actually. None of them have ever come in boxes. They always come in like FedEx envelope style things, which means that even though there's this fancy packaging, it always arrives mangled because it's not protected in an outer box. So I don't know. I'm a little on the fence with the way that they package their products. Super cute, and like I said, could make some nice gifts. This one, like I said, is probably the worst for wear, but it's unnecessary in my opinion. I think you should be able to choose if you're ordering a lot. In every box of notebook or notepad or anything like that, you get a couple things. You get a piece of like scrap leather, essentially, that you can use as a blotting paper, which kind of works, I guess. I don't really have use for it, but it's there. And then you get 2 sheets. So you get a 5mm graph and you get a 10mm graph. Then you get a 7mm ruling and a 10mm ruling that you can put under the paper, so that you can have those guides, because all of the paper is blank. You have no choice other than blank. It's all Tomoe River. Parker's walking in front of the camera. It's all Tomoe River paper, 52 GSM. You have no choice on that either. I'm just gonna read the back here. 400 sheets, blank, made in Turkey. This notebook uses Tomoe River 52 GSM white paper. You have no choice on the paper. It is what it is, which is really the only issue that I have with it. I do wish that they would use the option between 52 or 68, or at the very least, didn't give you the option to choose, but you could choose like 2 different notebooks, so that you couldn't like customize it down to the thing, because it is all handmade. It's made relatively to order. I'm sure they make a lot of stuff, before they're actually ready to ship. So I do wish you could change that. And I really, really hope that you can buy different versions that don't involve having to use these. I don't like that it is blank paper. That's really the only thing that gives me a little bit of grief. I don't like that it's blank paper. I wish that you could buy lined paper. I have used about, a third of this notebook here, maybe a little over a third, with their lined ruling here as my journal. And it's fine. It's doable. Like I said, you can see it. It's totally usable. When you flip it over, so like when you've got the notebook open like this, it does lie flat though. I will say that, and I love it. But when you have it like this and you've got a bit of a curve, this sticks out and it drives me nuts. So I do wish, and that is my only downside, only con really, is that I wish there was lined versions. This is handy that it's included, and it would have been a really big bummer if it wasn't, but I do wish you could get lined paper. And that's the same across every paper product they sell. It's only blank paper. So Galen Leather, if you're listening, if you're watching this, please make that change. It is the only thing that sucks. Everything else I absolutely adore. I have the B6 size here, which I actually have some some points written down. But let me talk quickly about pricing. So the A5 size leather, this is the crazy horse brown finish, which essentially just means it's going to age very nicely. I've been using this now for a couple months, and you can definitely see some of that. This is $46 Canadian, $36 US. I think it's pretty reasonable for a leather journal that is all Tomoe River paper. The non-leather version, which is identical in every way except obviously it's not leather. It has like sort of a plasticky texture, but everything else is the same. It's just not leather. So vegans, have at it. It's a little bit cheaper. It is $32 Canadian and $25 American. The A5 size is the only size you can get this version in though. You cannot get it in any other version, like a B6. I believe there's also an A6 and maybe one other, but these are the 2 that I chose. It's pretty darn close to that. It's ever so slightly larger. So if I try and line them up the best I can, you can see it's basically the same width. It's a little bit longer in length. So it's pretty darn close to that. But just for curiosity's sake, this is their Crazy Horse green finish. So same principle as this one, just green and not brown. These ones cost $37 Canadian and $29 American. So there's about a $10 difference between the B6 and the A5. I much prefer the A5 size. This is what I use to take my notes for my videos. Between the non-leather and the leather version, like I said, this is 32 versus 46 Canadian. So you do obviously pay a bit of a premium for the leather. But that makes sense to me. And with the B6 size, you still get all of the same accoutrement with it, just in B6 size, obviously. So that's nice that you're not paying like a crazy amount for the leather versus the non-leather, but there is definitely a noticeable difference. I did also purchase the A5 size in Crazy Horse Green. I just haven't used it yet because I'm still working on this guy here. So I do appreciate that. Their paper is Tomoe River. So pretty much anyone who has watched this video should know what Tomoe River looks like. But you know, it's there for you. I'll show you a close-up in a moment. It shows sheen and shimmer and all that stuff really well. It pops off the paper because the paper is white. So all of your color will really shine. Tomoe River is known for that. It is, in my opinion, the best paper to let your ink shine through. Because it is 52 GSM, there is show through, but never any bleeding. So some people call it ghosting rather than show through. Essentially it just means you can kind of see on the opposite side. I don't think that it is bad enough where you can't write on both sides. In my journal, I have written on both sides. Now, to be fair, I don't typically write with very bold colors. I tend to actually stick to colors kind of like this, like warm browns, things like that. But I have used, you know, some purples, some blues, that do make it a little bit harder to write on both sides, but it doesn't bother me. So again, if you've used 52 GSM Tomoe River before, you're going to be fairly familiar with that kind of show through. But I write on both sides just fine. That was a lot all at once. I hope you were able to take that in. I really like the feel of these. They do feel like leather, but very smooth leather. And it does smell like leather. I've had these now for a couple months, so they've lost that, like, when you open the package at first, you're like, whoa, because it's all sealed in. It's, you know, freshly made, so it's potent. But you leave it out for a few days, and it loses a lot of that, like, pungent leather smell, and it doesn't transfer to your fingers, which is also really nice because I don't want to have my fingers smell like leather. It's just not something that, you know, thrills me. For the B6 size in comparison to A5, it's pretty noticeable. I don't think I would use this as my actual journal. I don't like the size for that. But for quick notes and things like that, I think that's perfect. And it's perfect for just jotting down notes of what to do for you guys. The non-leather version, like I said, I haven't started to use yet. The texture, there's definitely a texture to it. It's kind of checkered all over. But it still feels well built in every way. I think literally the only difference is that there's no leather cover. It's just sort of a plasticky. That was quite the noise, eh? So I do like that. Like I said, you can only get this in A5 though. You cannot get any other size. But I do think A5 is the most popular. So it makes sense that if they're going to do a non-leather option, and I mean, they're called Galen Leather Company, so obviously leather is their main thing. And they also do a lot of woodworking. I have done a review of this pen holder thing already, so check that out if you want to see more about that. They do a ton of stuff over there, so definitely check out their website. Even just quickly scroll through it. They sell, I think, worldwide for the most part. I'm sure there's like some embargo countries, but I'm pretty sure they sell like worldwide. They have their pricing on the website that is available in every currency, so you don't have to do your own conversion, which is very nice. I did say in my unboxing video that I didn't get hit with any customs fees, but I did put an asterisk to that in the description because several weeks after I received it, I did get hit with customs. Now, it's not like any other business. It was not nearly as costly as other businesses. But what they do is they actually pre-approve the shipment to go through, so it doesn't get hung up in customs, but several weeks later you'll get a invoice in the mail, which sucks. Galen Leather, again, if you are watching, please tell your customers that, because I've never experienced that before, ever. I've never ever had that. It's either you pay when it gets to your door or you can pay online beforehand, but you're always notified before you get the shipment that there's customs fees due, which you have to expect if you're shipping internationally. But to get, you know, the delivery and then think you essentially were able to skirt through customs, which for Canada is rare. So when it happens, we celebrate. It's a not nice surprise in a few weeks to get that. So just be aware of that, because that was definitely a little bit of a stain on the happiness that I felt during the unboxing. I still would purchase again though, knowing that now. It still doesn't ruin the products for me in the sense of like, I'm not bitter when I use them or anything like that. It just would have been nice to know. So I do wish that Galen Leather on their website or wherever, or during the checkout thing, something like that, would say you're going to be billed after delivery, because I didn't even know that was a thing. So definitely a little more transparency would have been mint. But other than that, I'm pretty pleased with everything. So I'm going to stop rambling, flip the camera around, and we'll take a close look up of the paper. All right. I cannot get a shot without the little tripod foot, so apologies. I really, really need to invest in a better one. So this is kind of a close look of the random piece of leather that they give you. It's probably just a way to use up some scraps, which, I mean, is kind of cool. And then just the lined paper graph. So I appreciate the fact that this is included, but again, I don't know. I wish it was lined. So before we get into these two, let's take a quick peek at this guy here. Just close up of the cover. And then it's just blank paper. The first page is kind of just like glued in, but everything else is good to go. And it does lay flat, and it lays flat pretty much wherever you are in the notebook, which is really nice, because I hate it when notebooks don't. So I do appreciate that very, very much. So I'll shove this guy out of the way, and we'll take a closer look at this one, because this is the stuff I'll actually show you what I wrote. I love the way that this is starting to transform. It did already come with some of these lines, but anytime you bend it, move it, anything like that, I mean, obviously you can see the crease here, it changes with you, and it's so soft. I love the feel. And it just like, oh, it's gonna patina so beautifully. I absolutely adore it. Again, it's the same as the unfinished one. So this is some of that show through I was saying. What I was saying though before with this is that when you're on this side here, because there's a bit of like a crease up, when you're using this, so you'll kind of like stick it here, flip it over, and this is what I mean by it's totally usable, because it obviously you can see the lines very nicely. But when you let go of the page, you can't just like flop it back down, because it doesn't stay in the crease. So when you're writing on that page, or when I'm writing on this page, you have to hold it down in order to keep the line consistent the whole way through. So anytime you stop or start and you let go, it shoots out, and then it doesn't line up. This is a little irritating, I won't lie. So this is why I want lined paper. I know a lot of people prefer blank, but I can't be alone in wanting lined paper. When I first started using it, I actually was using the 7mm because the 10mm line actually looked too big. But I actually switched after a few entries to the 10mm so that I can use fatter nibbed pens, which I guess is a plus side, that you can choose depending on your entry, depending on the nib size, all that kind of stuff. But that's the only thing that really irritates me. The actual paper itself is beautiful. Again, it's Tomoe River, so it's gonna be amazing. I'm not really going to show you what I wrote in this one, like I said, just because it's my actual personal journal. And I love you guys, but that's a little too much information. So, but it's totally legible on both sides, which is great. So we'll rock out this guy here. This, hello, pens and tea, is what I mean by it's doable on both sides. Like if you've got the notebook down here and you're just reading, the stuff on the other side of the page doesn't really get in the way. It's totally legible. If you're up close and personal, and I will say the camera makes it look a little tiny bit more see-through than it actually is, but it's fairly accurate. It's totally legible. So these are just some ideas that I've already done. It does take a while to dry because it is Tomoe River paper. It handles flex pens pretty well. Again, Tomoe River paper. Most of you watching this will have already used this. This you're just getting an idea of videos I've already done. So, you know, check it out. It's just kind of testing different ones here. The Sharpie was the only one that pushed the boundaries of what could have bled through, and it did a little, but what else is new? Sharpie pretty much ruins any notebook. And you do see, like I said here, I mean, I gotta get better lighting too, because there is some shine and shimmer, but you can't quite tell in this video. But it is definitely full of show through. So if that irritates you, then this video, these notebooks are not for you. These are upcoming videos that I haven't done, a little sneak peek. This one, I will say, the B6 does not lie flat in the beginning. I guess just because there's not enough weight. But as you get a little bit further in, it does, especially the more and more you crack the spine, which is cool. The binding here, if I can get it to focus, is sewn in and glued. And on the edges, the leather is very, very thin, and it is glued to a harder cardboard to give it a little bit more stability. But their selling feature for this on their website is that it's flexible. So you can pretty much bend it and do whatever. You can stuff it wherever. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I really love these notebooks. Like I said, I have a couple issues with it, but I think it is still going to be very high. If not my ultimate favorite, it's very high in my favorites. The only thing that I think that would make this perfect is being able to get flippin' lined paper. That's really the only thing that I think makes this notebook have a bit of a fail. I do want the ability to have lined paper, even over the ability to get 68 GSM Tomoe River paper over 52, which I think would be a very nice bonus. It would make the notebook thicker, and it would probably make it a little bit more expensive. You'd either get less sheets for the same size, or you would have a thicker notebook, but I think having that option would be beneficial. But if I can only pick one between 68 or lined, I would pick lined every day of the week. Having just blank paper is a little bit irritating. But clearly I bought 3 of them, so I'm still going to use it anyway. Because I still love the actual finish. I love the paper itself. I love everything about it except for that. So, long rambling way of saying, do I recommend it? Oh, heck yeah. I sure do. Very much recommend it. Obviously, if you're, vegan, go with the non-leather version. But at least you have that option. So guys, thank you for watching this long video and sticking with me. I appreciate it. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you haven't yet done so, do hit that subscribe. New videos come out every Monday and Friday, and the occasional Q&A on Tuesdays. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.